7 o'clock, I go.
Gotta wait for the secretary.
Just turn the camera on.
Hey, good evening, everyone. The 549th meeting of the Planning Board of the Village of Depew will come to order. Can we have the roll call, please?
Member Agnew.
Here.
Member Fedorovich.
Here.
Member Morawski.
Here.
Member Spencer.
Present.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Here. Could everybody please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notification of emergency exits.
The emergency exits are located to the left and to the right of the rear. In an event of emergency or an alarm, please move in an orderly fashion to the exits and evacuate the building.
Thank you. We have two projects on the agenda tonight. The first is for the property located at 4801 Broadway. Could we have the legal notice, please?
Please take notice that the Village of Depew Planning Board will hold a hearing on Thursday, August 4th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Pre-board meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the OEM office/conference room in the council chambers of the Municipal Building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York. All social distancing and mask requirements will be followed. To consider the application for submission by Ari Goldberg of Barclay Damon on behalf of Royal Wash Development LLC for property located at 4801 Broadway. The following matters to be reviewed. They are requesting the following: final site plan approval and a special use permit to construct a car wash. The current zoning is C2 Shopping Center District, and any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Thank you. Could who's representing this project please come forward, and again, for the record, state your name, your relationship to the project, please.
Good evening, members of the Planning Board. Ari Goldberg from the law firm of Barclay Damon for the applicant. Andy Burns and Cole Overhoff from Project Engineers Passero Associates is with us, and then Anthony Daniele of the applicant themselves.
Well, welcome back, gentlemen. I know we gave you your conceptual approval a few months back, and I know you were coming in here for your final. So if you can just give us an update as to what has changed from your previous appearance here.
Absolutely. So my memory is pretty bad. I know Attorney Sam Albers is as well. So we were here 5 months ago in March, and at that time we made that initial presentation, granted concept plan approval, which helped us proceed to our civil drawings and then also commence state environmental review process. At that first meeting, you also you provided several comments about concept plan changes, and the town engineers also, the village engineers also provided several comments. And then I'm going to turn it over to Andy to recap some of those changes and then talk about also some of the seeker actions that we're taking.
Hi, Andrew Burns, Passero Associates. A few of the changes that were requested was showing the location of dumpster enclosure over on the northwest portion of the site. Also for conversations with the town and DOT revisions to this transit road to a right out only to avoid any sort of unnecessary cross traffic anymore on that roadway. We've also called out the 100-year floodplain line, which is about halfway up this embankment on the river or creek to our south. And again, we're well out of that, so no concerns with the floodplain there. We also have ample room for snow storage in a few places on the site, mostly to the south of that southerly entrance and where Anthony showed as well. It's important to note that if we have any excess snow in Buffalo, that can happen, Buffalo area, Western New York, we can haul that right off site with some loaders, so not a big deal. And those are some of the major changes.
And I think you guys did put the fence on the buffer to the west property. So
That's right. We've also made our initial appearance before the zoning board. We'll be back before them this time next Thursday. And the fence also came up during our presentation with them, which they appreciated and helps. There's also, I think if memory serves correct, there's a slope as it leads into the next property, so it makes the fence appear higher than it actually is, which is good for screening with the commercially zoned but residentially occupied dwelling to the west. Right, and the headlights coming around in the queuing area. So as Andrew mentioned, we did also talk with the state DOT, who advised us some changes if we incorporated this board and the village engineer's changes as well. We also completed a traffic impact study, which concluded with a reasonable degree of engineering certainty that while this development may increase traffic, it's not as significant compared to the existing traffic conditions at the intersection, and that no mitigation is therefore required, no traffic mitigation. We also completed a downstream sewer capacity analysis, which found that the existing sanitary sewer does have capacity to handle our project. And then in conjunction with the village engineer, we did undertook a coordinated seeker review as an unlisted action. We contacted agencies like Buffalo Sewer, Erie County Water, the DOT again, and the DEC. The DOT did receive a copy of our traffic impact study. They were aware of the project well before seeker. It wasn't our first time talking to them about it, but they did not respond following receipt of the traffic impact study, which was over 30 days ago. There's also been no other substantive responses that would require further project changes or really impact the project further. And so now in the sequencing of approvals in the village, it's to get this project built, it's on the planning board's role to make a recommendation to the village board on seeker, on site plan, and the special use permit that we also request. So with that, we are respectfully requesting that the planning board recommend a negative declaration, pursuant to seeker, site plan approval, and issuance of the special use permit to the village board. Any other further questions? The whole project team is here. Thank you for your time and your consideration this evening.
Okay, is Royal Car Wash changing hands? Because I noticed a name change.
Yeah, so I own Royal Wash Development, Royal Car Washes. We've partnered with a group called Go Car Wash. And, you know, the nuts and bolts of that are that we are still very involved in the car wash, but we have partnered with this larger national company. A lot of that has to do with the fact that once we broke 300 employees in our organization, you kind of stop having to run things the way, frankly, we know how to run things, and it kind of moves into a different world of employee management, payroll, rules. So by partnering with this larger group, they handle some more of that higher level stuff so that we can focus on building car washes and running car washes. So it will be a Go Car Wash is the name, and all the Royal Washes are changing to Go Car Wash, but the building and the operations, everything else is identical.
Okay, so all your operations are going to stay the same?
That is correct.
Perfect, perfect. Questions from the board? Bob?
Oh, start to finish, once everything's approved, what's the time?
So we go by the time we get a building permit and we start construction. It's typically a 6 to 8 month construction project, and that's dependent a little bit on weather, a little bit on supply chain stuff, but 6 to 8 months to answer your question.
Anyone else from the board? Questions? Heard? Anything? Legal, Sam?
So I know it was mentioned that your attorney doesn't have the best memory, neither do I. What was your name again? No, all of this looks good. Just remember, as we go through, the seeker needs to be approved first.
Yes.
Before, and that's just a recommendation to the town board for final approval because they're lead agency.
Anything else?
Nothing for me.
Engineering, Don?
I have just a few minor comments on the temporary erosion controls on the plans. None of that will affect the actual site or the features. My intent is just to email them to their engineer tomorrow to go over, so if you could just make a condition to address the final minor engineering comments.
Okay.
That's all I would ask. I can go over it with the board, but I don't know if it's really substantial for your review.
Okay. And anything else, Dan?
No.
Donnie?
I'm good.
Vote of course, then? Okay. Public concerns and comments? Nothing? So we will move into the seeker form. And again, bear with us. Gentlemen know how this goes. Name of the action or project, Gold Car Wash, Village of Depew. Project location, 4801 Broadway Street, Village of Depew, New York. Brief description of the proposed action. The proposal is to construct a 4,100 plus square foot car wash with 20 parking and vehicle vacuum stations on a single parcel located at 4801 Broadway Street in the Village of Depew, New York. The project site is 1.22 acres in size. Name of applicant, Zena Laga. You're going to kill me if I screw this up, right? Address 242 West Main Street, Suite 100, City, Rochester, New York. Number one, does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? No. Number two, does the proposed action require a permit, approval, or funding from any other government agency? Yes. And that was Erie County was listed as the agency. Number three, total acreage of the site of the proposed action, 1.22 acres. Total acreage should be physically disturbed, 0.93 acres. C, total acreage owned or controlled by the applicant or project sponsor, 1.22 acres. Number four, check all land uses that occur on or adjoining or near the proposed action, urban and residential. Number five, is the proposed action A, a permitted use under zoning regulations? Yes. B, consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? Yes. Number six, is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? Yes. Number seven, is the site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state-listed critical environmental area? No. Number 8A, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? No. B, are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? Yes. C, are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? Yes. Number 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed state energy code requirements? Yes. The project will meet or exceed energy code requirements. Number 10, will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? Yes. Number 11, will the proposed action connect to an existing wastewater utilities? Yes. Number 12, does the project site contain or is substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? No. B, is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Archaeological Site Inventory? Yes. 13A, does any portion of the site or the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by a federal, state, or local agency? Yes. Will the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. The USGS National Wetland Inventory has identified the following national wetlands in the proximity of the project site. Adjacent to and south of the project site is Cayuga Creek, a riverline system that is plus minus 1,472 acres in size. 500 feet to the southwest of the site is an additional river system that is plus minus 0.02 acres in size. 300 feet to the southeast is a fresh water pond that is plus minus 0.16 acres in size. Number 14, identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site, urban and suburban. Number 15, does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No. Number 16, is the project site located in the 100-year flood plan? Yes. The southern border of both properties comprising of the site are located in a 100-year regulatory floodway. The proposed finished floor of the building will be 11 feet above the 100-year floodplain. Number 17, will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? Yes. If yes, A, will the stormwater discharge flow to adjacent properties? No. Will the stormwater discharges be directed to established conveyance systems, runoff, and storm drains? Yes. Stormwater management includes a connection of building runoff systems to existing stormwater drain infrastructure. Number 18, does the proposed action include construction of other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids? No. Number 19, has the site of the proposed action or adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No. Number 20, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation, ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? Yes. The existing site is an unregulated closed remediation site. The DEC Environmental Remediation Database shows that the project site was previously used as a Sunoco gas station. Multiple underground gasoline storage tanks have existed on this site in the past. All petroleum bulk storage tanks have been previously removed. Questions? With that, a motion is in order to make a recommendation to the village board, which is the lead agency, to declare a negative declaration.
I, Member Morowski, make a motion that we accept the proposed plans.
We got to do the seeker first
Oh, the seeker. Then we accept the seeker as
with a negative declaration.
with a
A
negative
recommendation to the village board for a negative declaration.
declaration. Yes.
Motion by Member Morowski. Is there a second?
I remember Fedowitz second.
Seconded by Member Federowicz. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Agnew.
Aye.
Member Fedorovich.
Aye.
Member Morowski.
Aye.
Member Spencer.
Aye.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes. 5-4, motion is carried. At this point, a motion would be in order to accept the site plan and the special use permit for the car wash.
I, Member Fedowitz, make a motion to make a recommendation to the village board to accept the site plans as submitted with the following stipulations. Cammy wanted to verify engineering with them. And for the special use.
Special use permit. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
On a motion by Member Federowicz, seconded by Member Agner, to accept the site plan and a special use permit with stipulation. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Agnew.
Aye. Sorry there.
Member Fedorovich.
Aye.
Member Morowski.
Yes.
Member Spencer.
Yes.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes. 5-4, motion's carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing you.
That was a nail biter.
Suspense.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing the building up. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. It was great.
keep it excited.
You're just dramatic effect.
All right. There's no zoning next Thursday. It's not. We're not on this. There's no meeting. List, I don't think. It's so late now. Do we have a next one?
September.
It most likely, we can talk to you, yeah.
That might be okay.
Okay.
Okay, the second item on the agenda tonight is for property located at 5230, 5238, and 5246 Transit Road. Can we have the legal notice, please?
Please take notice that the Village of Depew Planning Board will hold a meeting on Thursday, August 4th, 2022 at 7 p.m. A pre-board meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the OEM office conference room in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application for submission by Dominic Corigliano on behalf of Corigliano Holdings for property located at 5230, 5238, and 5246 Transit Road, Depew, New York. The following matters to be reviewed. They are requesting the following: rehearing from a tabled September 2nd, 2021 Planning Board meeting seeking final site plan approval for a proposed parking lot. The current zoning is C2 Shopping Center District, and any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Okay, gentlemen, if you could come up and again state your names and your relationship to the project again, please, for the record.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Corigliano. My son Philip Corigliano, and my son Nicholas Corigliano.
Okay, Dennis, or Dominic, first I got to say congratulations for finally getting us a stamped drawing.
And thank you for giving us the opportunity to take another look at this evening.
So can you go over this drawing now that we have a stamped drawing and what you're proposing here?
We are proposing to park pretty much how it's designated. We're proposing the restaurant parking spaces to be as they were through the years that the restaurant building has been there. We have two of the same office tenants in the front corner of the building, on a hair salon and an insurance restoration business, and they've designated the amount of spots they suggested that they needed according to the letters that I enclosed, and the other various pieces of property and spots on it according to how we listed it. So if you refer to the legend, we have the apartment spots, the used car spots, the restaurant spots, and the office building spots showing green space on there, which was one of the things that was pointed out the last time we visited. And that's briefly it.
Okay, I mean, for the most part, everything looks decent. There are a couple of questions, a couple areas of concern.
Sure.
I don't think it's anything major. One of the things, Member Borowski and myself were in a meeting with the fire chiefs last night on fire department issues, and we discussed this because the fire chief has another meeting tonight. I know when Tony was here, he was big on keeping that 20-foot fire lane throughout.
Yes.
So there's only a couple issues. The southern driveway on Bellevue going towards Zerbrick, that measures out to be 15 foot wide. We need that to get to be 20, which I don't think should be a big issue for you.
No.
This part here, and I guess, Dominic, I don't know how to show it to you because it's probably hard to explain. This area here measures out to be 12 foot.
Yes.
It'd be tough to swing a fire truck through there.
Yes, in our opinion, in talking with different things, I don't think a fire truck would ever do a drive-through on our property. I understand that it's 12 foot. With the restaurant property being so wide, if there was ever something in one of the buildings there, the restaurant property gives a big access, and being that there is a back street and front seat with big accesses, I never figured a fire truck would really do a drive-through type thing. I understand that 20 foot is the standard fire lane, and that is 12 foot, but I just never imagined that they would want to drive that close to burning buildings.
Well, the issue would be is if the brick house or your metal building has something where we needed to get into that side, okay, we would bring a truck, either from Bellevue into the back or from Transit. The fire chief would like to see that one parking spot just eliminated so that the truck couldn't make the swing if it had to. It'd be the very last spot there.
I see exactly the one marked A.
Yes.
Yep.
We could change something need be. I'd rather not, if the board is suggesting that, that's what's gonna have to happen. I just never see the fire trucks doing a drive-through of that nature. And of course, you are more the experts on that, being with the department. It seems that the metal buildings that are listed here is easily accessible from the restaurant. And it seems like the other driveway from the front or back is easily accessible.
Well, it is
I
kind
can
of,
understand.
Dominic, just to back up a little bit.
Sure.
You mentioned about fire trucks driving through your property, and I don't even know if you were aware of it, but when the house on South Bellevue had the fire about a month ago,
Yes.
they actually laid hose through your property.
It was actually next to our property. I saw it, yes.
Yes,
It was next
so-
to the property. I was
Yep.
like,
Yeah, it was on,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
the
So, I
building.
mean, there are gonna be times where we're gonna need to drive through. So with that, those would be the requirements from the fire chief.
I see.
And the restaurant, and if this is perfect example, you're saying access from both sides.
Yes.
The fire chief is willing to not force the 20-foot drive-through the restaurant because there is access to that building from both sides.
Yes.
However, it was discussed by this board, from those parking spots to the building is only 10 foot. Is that going to be an issue for cars backing out of those parking spots?
In the 35 years that the building's been there, I don't know of anything. I don't see if I've ever had a problem with anything at all. Certainly angling the spots somewhat helps out a little bit.
Would there be any chance to angle that a little more, by any chance?
It could be angled more. The other thing that I think is a big plus is the, and I think code enforcement might be interested in that also, is on our office building, I have a sign there to try to help people exit to the rear, to the red light, just to help traffic flow a little bit. And with a sign like that, people tend to exit that way. By angling the spots a little bit more and getting people to exit out the back by putting, two of these signs in a couple of obvious areas, I think that might help that type of thing. I would think that's a good idea to make sure everybody can get out okay. But
Yeah.
again,
It just seems 10 foot to back out of a parking spot seems a little tight. And again, if you angle it a little bit more, that should help.
Sure.
That definitely should help.
yeah, no, that's a good idea.
One of the things we did not see on here, the restaurant obviously has a dumpster, correct? Or will have a dumpster.
The restaurant, back in its day, had a dumpster in back. Since I've owned the properties, we never had an additional dumpster. We've only used the dumpster we have, and it's been sufficient. Getting it emptied once a week, it's worked out fine. So we've never added an additional dumpster. At one time, you're right, way back when, they had it, but not since I've had the property, and I have no intentions of adding another one.
Okay, so where is the existing one?
The existing dumpster is right now right behind the metal building.
And the
Yeah.
restaurant would be using that?
Yes, and I even get anal retentive about placing it at the right spot. I got a white line all the way around it, so they drop it in the exact spot, because we've had drivers drop it a little different than where it needs to be, and if it's not in the right spot, it can cause.
I walked your property Sunday and I didn't even see it. Is it enclosed?
No, it's not enclosed. The fact you didn't see it might be a good thing, right? We don't want to look at an ugly dumpster.
Well, and that's why I'm questioning the enclosure, because that's probably going to be a stipulation. That
I see.
It is enclosed.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to show up on your plan too.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why, it's a good question. I don't know why it was never, there's a lot of detail and everything there, and I
Right.
don't know why the dumpster is not showing up, but it's been in the exact same spot in the 25 years I've been there, and I don't have any intentions of moving it. Just in more recent time, I drew a line around it to make sure that it stays in the exact same spot.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to require the enclosure. That's one of the codes. So. And then it'll have to show up on here again, so code enforcement has something to go by. Handicap parking, we only see one spot in front of the restaurant. What about handicap parking for the other businesses?
Well, one of those in the front of the office building had a space in the center and was listed handicap, but it's not listed on this, you're right, it doesn't say that, but it does have an area which you can consider the walkway coming out of the building, but that was also the access for the handicap area. So as you're showing 4 spots in the front of the office building, one of those is designated as handicap on the front side.
Okay, so we're gonna have to make sure on a revised plan that is all shown. Okay.
So you guys intend to comply with the American with Disabilities Act for the amount of necessary handicap spots, right?
Yes.
Basically have
So
to.
you have to.
Yeah.
That's beyond, we talked in the pre-board about how, I think, at least legally speaking, this is just a plan of the parking spaces with respect to what zoning and code require. But, a lack of handicap on here isn't a reason to deny, but you still need to get them and comply with the ADA. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Just want to make sure you guys are aware. If we approve this, it doesn't mean you don't need your handicap spots as required by the law.
Sure, and I understand.
And then they would have to show up on an updated site plan.
Okay. So we see one in front of the restaurant, we need to add one in front of the office building. And again, there really isn't any other change of uses on this building, on this property at all. The restaurant's been there before I even got here, but I'm happy to, make the necessary improvements that the board would like.
Are you planning on doing any resurfacing of the property? I know it's all paved, but I was just wondering if you're...
As money allows us, I'd like to just keep making improvements and improvements. That was one of the holdbacks on getting this parking plan, as we were trying to get that restaurant building up to par, which takes a lot. And as you know, getting everything up to codes, everything is outrageously expensive. So we have done a lot of updates and a lot of parking improvements, and I do keep an eye on it, that there's not potholes and tripping hazards and all that sort of thing on there. I don't need to pull out an old picture of what the property looked like. I think everybody remembers before I got there, it was overgrown, abandoned building, and it's nice to see things on a tax roll looking better. But was there an area of interest that you noticed that needed an improvement?
I was just going to mention it.
Yeah.
That back corner next to the impound lot, between the restaurant and the impound lot, where the awning is from the restaurant, you got probably about 4 vehicles back there that didn't look very roadworthy, and
Not at all.
they're kind of on top of each other.
One of the headaches of doing towing for the Village of Depew, you do get abandoned vehicles from time to time. One of them came from King's Auto Repair. That was there for a while, and, when you get a call to tow a vehicle in, whether it's, everyone's not a moneymaker, they're not all repair jobs or cars that they pick up. There is abandoned ones, which cause quite a delay. So with that said, there's a certain avenue we follow. We have a license to be able to dispose of the vehicle. It's a separate license and a separate book of entry. With that said, we need to send letters out to the owner, wait for a letter to come back, whether picked up or not. We need to send a letter to the police station to have the captain say that they have no interest on keeping the car at all. And we're an internet scrap processor is the proper word for it, and that allows us to do right paperwork to dispose of it. Unfortunately, whether it's good or bad, or nobody's coming back for it, you can't get rid of it in 2 weeks, unfortunately, so that's a downside of things. And
3 of those cars actually came in 30 days, so 3 of them came in the same week. So they all just got there, those 3.
I mean, that was the only corner of I walked your whole property. That was the only spot that I saw that was...
What is the average time frame to get rid of those cars?
usually doesn't take real long. It varies on a couple things. It's never like laying there for 6 months or a year. We move on them right away. We send letters out on a timely basis, and we send a letter to the police. Anne Marie returns it on a timely basis, and we move things along. The last thing we want to do is dispose of somebody's car and somebody later coming back and saying we didn't follow the proper guidelines.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't like to have any eyesores there. We take pride in keeping our property look really nice, and that's why we try to hide them in a spot where they're not as visible or noticeable. Let's put it that way.
And that awning that's going back on the building, or are you getting rid of that? Or?
That's gonna not be used, unfortunately. There was an expensive little awning there that paid a lot of money for it. I was hoping if I could incorporate it somehow in an enclosure on the restaurant building, but I'm not sure that that's gonna do anything at all. So unfortunately, that might get disposed of. The way it's propped up and sitting, it doesn't look like an eyesore in my opinion, but I'm not exact sure the exact intentions with it yet. This was an expensive item that I hate to just...
Yeah, no, I was just wondering what the intention of that was going back on the building.
I would like to use it in a restaurant building at one point, and there's some ideas in it. It is an extra, and when you're trying to get the essentials done and get the restaurant building open, it's kind of a back burner thing. But we do look for eyesores, not to have them laying around at all. We don't like to have things ugly. That's why we put out a lot of flowers and try to keep things as good as possible. I'm there 6 days a week. My sons live there. They're there quite often, or they're all the time, I should say. So, we do keep an eye on things. We patrol the property for garbage and people that throw stuff as they're driving and all the rest of the stuff. I don't like to have eyesores at all.
No, that was the only corner of, was that corner. I mean,
Yeah.
the rest of it looked pretty good.
I like to think that we got one of the nice properties in the village. I like to think that when people go by, that it's appealing and not an eyesore. That's for sure. But that's the story on the abandoned cars. It's unusual that we get 3 in one week like that. It's just,
Very unusual.
yeah. I think it happened once about a year and a half ago, where one of the other repair shops had cars there that customers left for a couple of years, and we ended up with 2 deadbeats at the same time. But
We make sure we process them in a timely manner.
Okay, and you know that you will have to stripe this according to the final plan.
Yes, and that's why I take pride in striping it. I do it every year. I got 2 different stripers. I actually enjoy doing it, which sounds kind of silly, but I enjoy making it look good. And I didn't do it this year just because I knew that there may be some changes or alterations, and I even spoke to Don about that I was planning on striping the whole thing. And I'd also like to point out, he's been great to work with on this since we've gotten the restaurant building going a little further along. If he asks for something, we move on it and do it. It's, he asked for a handicap sign on the restaurant over there, moving forward. They talked about doing a ramp, great idea. We don't want to, not only is he's supposed to have it, but we don't want to, discourage people that are handicapped to get in there. And it's only improvements to the building and making it more accessible to everybody.
Okay. Questions from the board?
Snow storage.
Snow storage.
So some of the grassy areas there, we are using for snow storage. We do have a Bobcat that we've had for years. We had an old one, we bought a new one. If it gets to the point that we need the trucks to come out, we have the ability to take it out of there. I haven't had a problem with the snow issue at all. You have to keep up on it, you have to stack it, you have to work with it, but there is enough areas that it's worked out all right for snow storage. Once again, being there all the time, it's not a absentee property. We're there, we keep an eye on that.
Yeah,
Where the
especially
couple
with your transit road entrances, you don't want to get that stacked for visibility purposes.
Yeah, and if you talk to the guy that does the sidewalk on the street there, you'll hear from him that we get the sidewalk done faster than he does in a lot of cases. And they do a great job coming down doing the street on both sides, as you know, but we're out there with the Bobcat in a lot of cases before them and getting that cleared out of there. We know we don't put any piles near the road. The last thing you want to do is see somebody get hurt and you're the guy to put the pile of snow there that caused it, that's for sure.
Any other questions from the board? Legal, Sam, anything?
Nothing from me. My comment about the ADA spots, us approving this isn't a seal of approval for the amount of handicap spaces here. You gotta make sure you comply with the ADA. Nothing else from me.
Tammy, anything from engineering?
Nope, there's no engineering involved.
Thank you. Donnie?
I will go over the buildings with Dominic, and we'll get the ADA compliance going. We'll have nixed that parking spot on the end there, and we'll mark where the dumpster enclosure is supposed to go per the village requirements.
Okay. Could we okay this with the stipulation that within 30 days he has an updated site plan?
Showing ADA.
Showing what everything.
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that, a motion would be in order. I just consulted with our attorney. If we do make a motion to approve this, it would be a stipulation with the things we discussed, and also that a updated site plan would have to be in the Office of Code Enforcement within 30 days, or would have to return back here. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to, are we tabling?
No, we're going to accept.
We're going to
With the
accept
stipulation.
site plan as is
The board's
with-
gonna
with-
vote.
With recommended changes. I'm sorry, before you go any further, I just want to clarify one more thing. You were talking about the entrance to the south over on Bellevue. You wanted that increased to 20 foot
20
there?
feet, right. Okay, so yeah, let's go through those again. The south entrance on Bellevue going towards Zurbrigg would have to be increased to 20 feet. The area to the west of the metal building, where it's only a 12-foot right-of-way, that one parking spot would have to be eliminated for emergency vehicle access. We are looking to change the angle of the parking to the south of the restaurant building, just to give you a little more room. The dumpster will have to be enclosed and shown on the site plan, and the required handicapped ADA required parking spots will have to be shown on the site plan.
The one question is that 12-foot area that we talked about to eliminate one of the spots. We're assuming that eliminating one spot's going to get us to the size that we need, because we're looking to go 20 feet. So,
Yeah, it's going to give us the room to swing the truck.
Right.
That is the most important thing.
sure.
Is there 20 feet between those two buildings?
I'm sorry, John?
Is there 20 feet between the two buildings?
I don't have anything to measure with. It's got to be close. It's going to be very close. But if we could eliminate that one spot, because that is kind of on an angle, so the truck would not be coming in straight, it would be
Right.
coming in on an angle, so I think that would give, satisfy the fire chief. That was his recommendation, to eliminate that one spot.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite 20 feet, but 20 feet is the recommended, so you have plenty of room. So if it's a little tight, I think they'd still get it through there by eliminating that.
Yeah, because again, it's an angle, it's not
Exactly.
coming in straight, gives you that little bit more of a swing, so.
So I guess the point is eliminating the spot. We would hope that the truck then would make it through if it's not 20 feet between the two buildings, and you're kind of eliminating the spot for nothing.
I don't have anything to measure that, to see what it is.
I could get something. What do we got, a 1 in 20? You want me to measure it?
No, I got it.
You got something?
I got an architect's skill.
What is that distance, Art?
Pardon me?
Do you have something to measure? What is that distance?
The one on the south entrance?
No, the one up,
Oh, it's between the parking?
yeah.
This is skill.
If you go green space to green space,
It's a 1 in 20 when you look at it.
Okay.
gotta be right around there.
Yeah, it is 12 feet. That's
Right
what
now.
measures.
From here to here.
But you eliminate that
from
spot,
there
go
to there?
from green space to
Okay.
green space.
Green space to green space, how much do you have?
Probably about, let's see, 10, not quite 20. I would say probably more like 18.
But if he encroaches over the green space a little bit with the swing of the truck,
Yeah.
the wheels should still
Yeah,
stand.
yeah. So plus, like I said, that's coming in on an angle. Again, he was concerned about the swing, so that would satisfy him if you took out that one spot.
Fair enough.
Okay, so those were the stipulations. Do we have a motion?
Okay, so I'd make a motion that we approve the project based on the recommendations by the board and the building inspector.
And that an updated site plan be
And an updated
submitted
site
within
plan be
30 days
submitted.
to the code enforcement officer.
Within 30 days to the code enforcement officer.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
On a motion by Member Egner, seconded by Member Borowski to accept the site plan with the stipulations, and that an updated site plan has to be in the Office of Code Enforcement within 30 days, or you'll have to return to the planning board. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Agnew.
Aye.
Member Fedorovich.
Aye.
Member Morawski.
Yes.
Member Spencer.
Yes.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes, 5-4, motion's carried. Well, congratulations, Dominic, and boys, hopefully,
Good job.
get this done, and
Appreciate it.
it's been a long road, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Glad we got this far.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good night, guys.
With that, a motion is in order to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Member Spencer, seconded by Member Borowski. Sure. The meeting is adjourned at 19:43. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Remember, the YouTube is going.
I don't think I've ever had someone vote no to adjourning a meeting in my,
If you want, I will next time.
you're not a voting member?
You said anyone, you didn't say voting.
Any member, I should say.
We have to reckon that.
Hang on,
Yeah.
we're